Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Coach Dustin Velasquez. I'm the assistant coach at Navarro College, and today I want to talk to you about mental fortitude. So I feel like this is one of the most important things that your team or your athlete needs to learn while under your leadership or under your guidance. I feel like mental fortitude is what will keep your program going for the long term. Okay? So let's start. I like to have notes taken down. So if you have a pen and a piece of paper, I would like you to follow along with me. If you have your phone and you want to take notes on your phone, that works too. All right. So I wrote down a couple bullet points. First thing I want to talk to you about with your athletes, right, or about your athletes, is that the 100% rule. So a lot of times, we expect them to be at 100%. We expect them to be able to do things perfect or whatever, but I think it's something that they need to learn, and we as coaches need to also see, is that your athlete is not going to be 100% every day. Okay, I feel like they need to understand too that the expectation isn't 100% every day. It's giving me what you have and what you can do, and the athlete learning that they're going to give you all they have, all they got, and they're not backing down, right? So they don't have to be 100%, but they got to give every percent that they have, everything in their body to push through the grind or the grueling hard practice, or pyramid day, shoulders getting torn up, or whatever it may be, right? Basket day, whatever it is. And I feel like with our athletes, the next bullet point that I want you to write down is don't overanalyze. A lot of times frustrations build, tensions get high, people get upset and angry because they have these unrealistic expectations of what's supposed to happen, and they're overanalyzing the situation like crazy. So, let's say I do a full up, just using an example. I do a full up, I drop it. First full I've thrown all day. I look to my right, what did I do wrong? Look to my left, coach, what did I do wrong? Look to the person behind me, hey, what did I do? And they're all giving me different answers, and I'm trying all three things at the same time and changing my technique completely. This is crazy. This is madness, right? So our athletes need to learn to not overanalyze, and us as coaches too need to learn not to overanalyze. It's just the first one. It's just like anything. Like when you first get on the treadmill and you start running, of course it doesn't feel good for the first 60 seconds or whatever, but once you get in a groove, you're like, oh, okay, like my muscles are working, I can feel the blood flowing, whatever, we're moving, we're grinding. All right, and same with like weightlifting. You first get in the gym, it's hard. You don't just go straight to your max, right? You work your way up. Same with cheerleading. I wouldn't recommend, hey, just throw a double full, or hey, just do or even 1.5, or hey, just do a double up or handski or something. It's just unrealistic expectation to be that good all the time. I'm not saying there aren't athletes out there that are like that, but it's unrealistic to expect every athlete to be like that. And don't overanalyze. If you make a mistake or something drops or something messes up, just do it again. Sometimes it's just doing the same thing you just did and it works, right? So we don't always have to change every single time something drops or something goes wrong or whatever. Sometimes it's just as simple as do it again, right? So don't overanalyze. Here's your next point. Let me have you write down another bullet point. I want you guys to leave your mark and make your mark. In order to do that, you have to also write this down. Believe in you, and in that phrase, there's also be you, right? So believe in you, be you. With that being said, that's kind of like my favorite catchphrase of all time. In order to be your best self, you have to believe in yourself, right? In order to be who you're ultimately created to be and meant to be, You have to actually believe in who you are and what you can do and your abilities and your skill set and everything you have in your arsenal that you're going to use to, catapult your trajectory to success, okay? So in order to achieve what you want to do and leave your mark in your club or in your gym or in your organization or in the cheer industry in general, the first thing you got to do is believe in yourself. As coaches, we can sometimes believe in our athletes more than they believe in themselves. And I think it's great to believe in our athletes, but we have to teach them how to believe in themselves. We have to teach them how and build their confidence and show them that they matter and that everything they do is for a reason, it has a purpose. So, in order for us to leave our mark, we have to get our athletes to leave their marks and lead by how they would lead and be that example, believing in themselves, being themselves, and not trying to make them be something else. It would be as silly as like telling an elephant to do a tiger's job or eagle to be a fish or something like that. I'm just using crazy things, but example is example. We're not trying to make people something they're not, but we're also making them believe in what they are and what they can do and what their skill set and abilities are for. Next, I want to talk about risk. Write that down. Risk. In mental fortitude, it is so important to take risks sometimes. I'm going to give you an example of my backstory. So when I first started co-ed stunting, I did like a toss hands. I did, maybe walk-up extension, things like that. I wasn't a great stunner by any means. I couldn't even toss to the top. I could barely do toss hands half the time. And I thought I was just terrible. Well, one day I went to a practice and my coach, who is Mandy Morgan, one of the greatest coaches I've ever had of all time. She is one of the owner and directors at OC All-Stars in Anaheim, California. She told me to do a rewind with her. And I said, "You're crazy. I'm going to kill you." And she's like, "No, Dustin." She's like, "You have the power. You just lack the technique on what to do." And I never in a million years thought at 155 pounds, I could flip somebody and catch them in my hands. And she was like, "I don't care if I die," just jokingly, obviously. But she's like, "You're going to do a rewind and you're not leaving until you do it. I believe you can do it. I know you can do it. We have 10 spotters all around us. Just throw it." And I'm like, all right. Obviously, she broke down the technique and how to do it. But we got to the point where I was like, all right, I guess I'm throwing this thing. And I was like, "Hey, you promise you won't come after me if I hurt you, right?" And she's like, "No, just throw the rewind. You're not going to hurt me. It's going to be fine." First one I threw, rewind, I just let her flip and then bear hug the heck out of her when she came down. And she was like, of course it hurt, but she was like, "That was great. I had a bunch of height, a bunch of time to be caught in your hands." She said, "This time, just leave your hands up," like she told me before we threw it, but leave your hands up so I can land in your hands and then just squeeze and push me up. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Round 2. Boom. Throw my rewind, catch it. I went to hands and I was like, oh my gosh, freaking out, popped off. I was like, I'm a big boy stunner. I can throw anybody. I can do elite stunts. What's up? So I was like so pumped that I could actually do a rewind. But like, if I didn't take that risk because I was afraid to fail, then ultimately I wouldn't be where I am today, because now I feel like I'm a really good stunter and a really good tumbler, and a lot of these things that I've achieved is because of the simple fact that I had a coach who believed in me and helped me take that risk and helped me, put me in the right steps to have a great reward for the risk versus reward, scenario. So the risk was low and the reward was high. So, I was able to come out of that with a positive mindset and a stronger belief in myself, and ultimately more confidence in me as a cheerleader. And I always say this too to my athletes, because sometimes they say, oh, that's too hard, or I'll never get that, I'll never do that skill. Everything's hard. Everything's hard until it's easy. That's one of the biggest lessons in life. And write that down. Everything is hard until it's easy. So, with that being said, I feel like, when you first learn to tumble, it's hard. When you first start coaching, it's hard to manage personalities. When you first start stunting, it's hard to flip human bodies and catch them with one hand. These things just don't come naturally, and they take a lot of practice to, I guess, overcome and succeed in. But it can be done, and once it is done, and you keep putting yourself in that scenario, and you keep throwing that rewind, it gets easier, right? Eventually you start to see the feet. Eventually you start to feel confident and comfortable in your shoes when you're talking in front of people or talking to your team. And there's just so many things that are hard at first, and once you do it for a long period of time, you start building confidence within yourself to be able to do it. And your mental fortitude, your mental strength becomes so much better, so much stronger, because you have belief and confidence in what you can do and what you bring to the table. So, next I want to talk about visualization, okay? A lot of athletes, they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan of attack. They're going into practice blindfolded, is what I like to say. Or they're going to an open gym blindfolded, right? They're going in and they're just like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to stand with this person today. Oh, maybe I'll throw some tumbling today. Maybe I'll do some tucks. Maybe I'll do this, whatever. I think the biggest thing to visualizing what you're going to do is having your plan of attack. So write this down. Visualization requires for you to write a goal. So you're going to write your goal. Write that down. You're going to write a plan to achieve your goal. And then guess what the last thing is? You're just going to make it happen. You're going to implement the plan, right? You're going to take action on the plan. So, again, I'm going to repeat this. Visualization requires a plan of attack. How do you do that? You're going to write a goal. Number one, your goal is the most important thing. If you don't have a goal, you don't have vision, right? Next thing, you're going to write a plan on how to achieve the goal. It's super simple. It's going to take you time, but let's say my goal is to get a full, okay? That's my goal. My plan might be I'm going to go to the gym one more day a week than I usually do, so that increases my odds of doing it sooner. Maybe my other part of the plan is I'm going to have Coach X watch and critique me on this day. And then maybe my other plan of attack is on the other 2 days, I'm having one of my teammates who's the best tumbler on the team or something watch and give me critiques or spot me through it or whatever it may be. And, number 3 is I'm making it happen. I'm committing to the action plan, right? I'm committing to doing what I said I was going to do so I can achieve my goal. So it's almost like you're working backwards at that point. You're making the plan happen by doing the action, following the plan of attack in your action, and then you're achieving that goal lastly. So another thing that I see a lot is it's really easy to give up. A lot of people, they are strong-minded. They have a strong mentality, but I think that sometimes we let our failures get to our heart, and we think that we can never do it, and that's one of the biggest lies out there is like, oh, you'll never be able to do that. Yeah, right. Watch me, You have to believe in yourself. You have to not give up, because that is the for sure way that you will fail, that you will never do it, that you will never succeed or achieve your goal, is by giving up. It's one of the greatest weaknesses we as human beings have, is giving up. If you give up, there's so many things that come with giving up, but it's easy to succeed as well as it is easy to give up, right? If you don't give up, that's easy. It's easy to push through. You just put one foot in front of the other and you keep going and you keep trying and you keep failing until you get it, right? And becoming great is easy. You just look at what great people do and you follow that footstep. And if there's not a path created, like I said, you keep pushing, you keep trudging along, you keep putting that foot, you crawl your way through it, and you'll get there. And when you do get there, when you do finally achieve what you came to achieve, you're going to be like, wow, now this is easy. And then the other side, the flip note, is it's easy to give up. And people, they give up and they walk away, and it's easy for them. They have no obligation anymore, no conviction to do anything, no nothing. But on the flip side, they're both easy. It's just a commitment of, are you going to commit to success, or are you going to commit to giving up? And what's it going to be? Are you going to allow giving up to be your weakness? You know what I'm saying? So that's just a mindset check for you guys, is like, are you willing to give up? Are you willing to keep going? And when you do get there, you'll see both are easy. It's just a choice of which way you want to go. So obviously, I talk to my athletes about some of the things I've been through with my shoulder surgery, or pains and things that I've gone through in my life. And I kind of tell them that everyone has their storms, everyone has their battles, but it's what you choose to do with your storms and your battles. It shows what type of person you are and what type of person you're going to be when you don't shy away from things that are hard. Those things give you wisdom, they give you strength, they give you power, they give you enlightenment. So there's so many things that come with that are good, and we learn through pain. Next, write this down. Being coachable. Part of having mental strength is also letting someone else tell you how you're doing and accepting the fact of what they're saying could be true, and trying to better yourself by listening to someone else coach you through a skill or coach you through a technique that you're missing. And I think sometimes we as humans think we know it all, or we don't want help, or we can't be helped, but maybe our technique's too bad. Maybe it's a confidence issue. We're not worth the time, or we don't care to change it. We're just good enough. It's staying in the air, whatever it may be. But I think that being coachable is one of the main factors in having a strong mind and a strong mentality, having that mental fortitude. You have to be coachable. You have to listen to the people who have been there, done that, and who are leading the way in the industry. Next, write this down. Your mind is your only limit. Now, when I say that, is because if you say, I can do this, you are right. If you say, I can't do this, you are right. Both are true. And this is common knowledge, right? I think that can't shouldn't even be in your vocabulary, and it should be, I will learn how to do this, or I can do this, right? Your mind, if you tell yourself, I am dumb, I am stupid, I'm weak, I'm whatever, your mind doesn't know the difference between when you're joking, when you're serious, when you're playing around, whatever. You have to use your words as power, right? And the power that you feed your mind and body is so important. And so if you say, I can't do this, maybe I'll try, I'm gonna fail, or I'm afraid, or whatever, like all those things that you say to yourself are true. You will. So your mind is your only limit. So you have to make sure that you're reinforcing your mind with words that strengthen your mind and body. Let's move on. So you might fail. Write that down. You might fail, but it's okay. Write that down. So you might fail, but it's okay. Failure is the key to success. It is the only way that you will ever achieve greatness, anything that is worthwhile, you have to fail at. You have to, it can't be easy if it's worthwhile, or else it's not that important to us. If I walked up and gave you $100, you'd be like, oh, great, $100, right? Or if I made you work for the $100, it means more because you had to work for it, you had to earn it. And the same with cheerleading. I feel like there's so many things that we have to work for, we have to fight for, we have to train for, and we might fail. That's part of the process. Like, winning isn't loyal to us. It's not something that is easily done. Majority of us lose more than we win, but that doesn't make us a bad coach. That doesn't make us a bad athlete. That is just life, that you're going to lose at more things than you do win. And the way that you think about these things is, I love that Conor McGregor said this. He says, I don't lose, I learn. And I feel like that's huge, because when you fail, it's a learning experience, and you learn so much more from your failure than you do just throwing and hitting it, So I feel like when you fail, it makes you think like, okay, it slid off my hand this way. Okay, I need to get my thumb around. Oh, it didn't have enough rotation. Okay, I need to add more thumbs. I need to flip her faster. Oh, I need to add more height. Like, there's so many things that come into play that you're thinking about that helps you critique and become that super specialist in that skill, So failure is good. You might fail, and that's okay. Let's go next. Battling through pain. Write that down. Battling through your pain. I think that a lot of cheerleaders, especially when they first start, they don't know how hard and how tough cheerleading can be on your body. And you're always going to be in pain. You're always going to be hurt. You're always going to be, something is going on. But being able to battle through your aches and pains is so important. Obviously, if you're hurt, I always say hurt is different than just having pain. Like, if you're in pain, you can push through. If you're hurt, torn, Achilles, yeah, you're not going to tumble on that, right? But battling through the pain is also part of the process. Learning your body's limits is also part of the process. And a lot of times, us as coaches, we'll be able to push our athletes far beyond what they thought their limits actually were. And that's a good thing. So we constantly want to make sure that we're pushing our athletes. We're not babying them. We're making sure that they can do it anywhere, any place, anytime, on any surface, because they're that dang good and they believe in themselves that tired, hungry, sleepy, night, day, whatever, they can do it any time of the day because they have trained it so many times and have pain or failure or hurt that they know how to do it. Like, there's no quit in them because they know that they can battle through anything, and I think you see that in a lot of competitions when some stunt goes wrong and the stunt starts coming down and the whole crowd's like, ooh, and then all of a sudden it comes right back up and like, they start freaking out and like going nuts. And it's because like they just battled through that. Like, that sucked on their bodies. Like, it is so much easier just to hit a stunt to the top than it is to have to like struggle and then finish a whole sequence at that, then let alone a whole routine after that. That one major save just drained your whole body, and your body is going through pain and it's going through struggle, and yet they're battling through that. They're moving through those motions, and they know that they're not giving up and they're not quitting. That's one of the hugest things that we need to teach our athletes is there is no give up. There's fight in you 100%. You're there to dominate, to rule, to conquer, to I don't even know, just make your name, put a statement out there. It's just one of the biggest things that I feel like mental fortitude. You have to even practice your mistakes becoming saves. So a lot of athletes I see, they do the stunt and it doesn't hit right and they just let it come down, and it's in practice. But you will practice and you will play how you practice. So if you practice with your stunts when they come down, you just let them drop, you're going to drop because you're not going to know how to save it, right? So you have to battle through all types of pain, through all types of struggles, and that's what's going to make your athlete, whatever it may be, great and have that mental strength. I feel like a lot of us have the what ifs. Write that down. What ifs. So with the what ifs, that's what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I do this stunt and this happens? What if I do this tumbling pass and I land on my neck? What if I do a pyramid and they don't catch me? Like, there's so many what ifs in our sport. I feel like the worry about the future is something that kills your motivation in the moment. Now, write that down. The what ifs, write down the worry of the future kills your motivation in the moment. If you are thinking about what if this happens, you are not present in the moment. Therefore, you actually might create your what if. So you must be present in the moment. You must think about not what's going to go wrong. You need to think about what you're going to do in that moment. Arms, drive your shins, be fast, speed, snap down, block, rebound, like whatever those little details that you need to do, that's what you need to be thinking about in the moment. That's how you're going to be successful. That's how you're going to build your confidence, right? It's thinking about all those details, not the what ifs. The what ifs do nothing for your technique. They do nothing for your future. They do nothing for your goals. They do nothing for your sport. So why would you even go there to the what ifs, right? And obviously we can't control our minds and our thoughts in terms of what comes in first, but we can control what comes in after that thought, right? So if I'm thinking, what if this happens? I should be like, you know what? No, this is what's going to happen because I'm going to do this. So I just changed my mindset right there. But you have to be able to catch yourself when you start going to the what ifs and change that mindset to, oh, wait, I'm not thinking about what if, I'm thinking about what I need to do right here in this moment. So again, we can't control what comes in initially, but we can't control what goes in after. I think that speaking about the moment, I want you also to write this down. Meet your moment, okay? So this is kind of the last piece to having mental fortitude and being in that moment. I like to say that some of the best athletes in the world, when they're truly in the moment, they don't hear anything. They don't see anything. They don't feel anything because they're truly in the moment. And if you talk to football players in a stadium when they're playing, they don't hear the crowd. The crowd, everything goes, the noise goes blank. It's gone. It's not there, right? And they're focused on that down. They're focused on getting to the quarterback. They're focused on catching with that receiver. They're focused on making the play, running the ball, sharp cuts, things like that. What the actual play is and what the play call is and getting in the right position. I think that's super important to get into your, what I like to call your moment, get into your flow state of thinking. So with stunting, right? Like when we throw a rewinding competition and we catch it as a stunter or something, we're not looking around and watching all the other groups and then, watching the crowd or whatever. No, we're focused on exactly what we need to do in that moment. Then we're moving to our next moment. And I like to say meet your moment, because when you do everything we talked about from mental fortitude, when you don't overanalyze, when you believe in yourself, when you take the risk, when things become easy that were hard, when you have visualization and the goal and the plan and you make it happen, when you don't give up, when you are coachable, when your mind is not a limitation to you, when you aren't afraid of failing, when you battle through the pain and you cut out the what ifs, you will meet your moment and you will be in that moment. And that moment will be great because you practiced mental fortitude, right? You trained yourself to be confident. You learned that this moment is exactly where you're meant to be and exactly what you're meant to do in this moment of time. So, with that, I want you to know that everyone is going to meet their moment in competition, in the arena, in front of the crowd, or whatever. And are you going to be worried about the what ifs and everything that can happen? Or are you going to be worried about what, I guess, the technique and what the little words that you need to focus on, or the feet that you have to catch, or the pass that you have to throw, and the landing, and the next part, and the next part, and the next part. It's just being that one step ahead, knowing what comes next and what comes after, right? But you just got to live in that moment, embrace that moment. And I feel like with everything that I've just explained and talked to you, if you implement these things into your athletes, into your practice, into what you do, I feel like it's going to help you create stronger athletes with strong mindsets, strong mentalities, and, you know, there will be no give up. That won't be an option. They will go out there and they will do what they need to do and do what they're supposed to do, and they will go to war and go to battle for you. So thank you so much for listening to my talk on mental fortitude. I hope that y'all learned something. I hope you guys take something that I've said and implement it in your practice setting. I hope you talk to your athletes about mental strength and battling through pain and writing goals down and a plan of action and actually making it happen. I hope you do all these things because I think it's so important as athletes and coaches to actually have strong mentalities, strong foundations, strong mindsets. It'll carry you a long way. So thank you so much. And again, follow me on Instagram. My name is Dustin Hatersoff on Instagram. TikTok is also Dustin Hatersoff. That's DustinHatersoff. On Facebook, Dustin Velasquez. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, guys. Like, comment, whatever on the video, and reach out to me if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns on anything. Again, these are just my personal experiences with mental fortitude and building your mindset and believing in yourself, things like that, helping confidence. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I hope it helped, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.